Hey book girlies, I'm Sara.
Hey gamer guys, it's Ian.
And you're listening to a pod of sass and sarcasm. So, you promised me last time that you were going to play something that's not Warframe. Did that actually happen?
Yes.
Did it?
Yes, I did play something other than Warframe.
Was it Destiny?
No, it was not Destiny.
Oh. What would you play?
It was Electronic Arts Battlefront 2. The company Electronic Arts production of Battlefront 2. Because Battlefront 2 has been made before by a different company.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, and how did these compare, or have you not played the other companies?
I loved the other ones.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Let me look up when it was released.
Sure.
The original one came out in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
The EA version came out in 2017.
Oh, okay. And what did you think about this one?
Overall, the game's pretty good, but there's a lot of annoying parts about it. Everything is matchmaking. You cannot do like a specific set of rules on your own. So it's always online. Pretty much. I guess I should just explain what Battlefront 2 is to start. I'm having a hard time explaining why I'm upset about this. If you don't know the context of what it is.
Yeah, I was saying, it went way over my head.
So Battlefront 2 is a Star Wars game.
Okay, I was hearing you say like Luke Skywalker and like Kylo. I don't know.
Kylo Ren. Yeah, it's like all like eras of the Star Wars.
Okay.
And you're playing the armies and occasionally the heroes.
Oh, fun.
And there's usually an objective involved.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually capturing command points.
Okay.
Or defending command points.
Sure.
And then you have several classes, and you're on a lot of iconic planets and iconic battles throughout the universe. Mm-hmm. And so you can imagine there's a lot of content with that, because it's...
Oh, yeah.
Original 3, which is 4, 5, 6, and then it's 1, 2, 3, and now it's these 3 new ones.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8.
No, 7, 8, 9, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, numbers that I can do them.
Okay. So it's a lot. They've got a lot to pull from.
You have a whole lot to pull from, a lot of maps, a lot of all this other stuff. And you can do various game modes. Mm-hmm. In the past, the old one, they had better game modes and more custom hosted stuff. Mm-hmm. So you and I could play on our own, but we could be on different teams, and we could select what teams we wanted based on the map.
Okay.
So I want this specific map, and I want to use these specific armies to do this battle. Mm-hmm. And we could be on different teams, and then just populates it with AI enemies, and then you and I are also fighting each other.
Okay.
That's how it used to be. Now, it's like 20 people versus 20 people in a random map.
Ooh.
You might be able to select which era you're playing, but you don't get to pick teams at all.
That's dumb.
But then you can play co-op, which is just 4, and it's your team, simulated teammates, and enemies fully simulated. So it's like AI versus 4 of you and AI. But you can't like choose opposite teams from each other for whatever reason.
That is really
And it's always matchmaking. So if you only have 2 players, it's going to try to fill the other 2 spots with random people.
That's really dumb.
Incredibly. And you can't pick anything you want.
Yeah. Oh, that's a real big bummer.
Yeah. The other thing they added was heroes, so it's just the heroes fighting each other. Mm. And again, you don't get to pick the era or the map. It's just random. Because they have all these game modes, but you can't play them offline with just your friends. It's really annoying.
That's disappointing. I was hoping that it would be like, I don't know, something you're excited about. Although, to be fair, as much as you like video games, I don't know if I've ever really heard you talk about them when they were doing something that you liked.
I do enjoy some of the stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, I do like playing against another team with no AI. It's like 20 players versus 20 players. It's awesome.
Right.
But I'm annoyed at my friends because they don't want to freaking do that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I just want to play against the AI so I can level up. I'm like, of course you do, because it's easy.
Yeah.
You like, oh, I'm losing a lot because they have better stuff than me. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I literally got like top of the scoreboard with a level 0 character. You're fine. It just takes a little bit to figure out. But half these people don't ever play against other players, and I'm like, guys, can we please play something against other humans? I'm so sick of just being like, oh, it's just a bunch of fucking computer simulated people and I can win every time because I'm the best. And I'm like, I want to fight another person and go, okay, they were just better than me. But they always go, oh, that guy had to be hacking. Oh, it's so not fun. They're just flying around doing that. And I'm like, you could literally be doing the exact same thing. And you're choosing to just complain about it. If it's so good, why aren't you doing that?
Good point. Great point. You got him there.
But regardless, I've been having a decent amount of fun with the game. Like,
Okay.
it's not that bad.
Okay.
There's just aspects I would prefer to be more like the old one.
I don't like that they have the same name.
Yeah, because it's Electronic Arts and they don't do anything good for anything.
Yeah. It's like, it almost feels like they're trying to take credit for that old game.
They
and,
are.
like, confuse that success with their success, which because it sounds like theirs is not very successful.
Yeah, they've been sitting on the Star Wars IP for a long time, and they've done barely anything with it.
That's also really annoying.
Because when the first one were being released, we were getting like 2-3 Star Wars games a year. Now it's like maybe one every couple.
Right.
And they suck.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. My stomach keeps making noise, and I really hope that mic doesn't pick it up, but we'll see.
Also, I did play a little bit of Warframe.
Oh, no!
I logged in to build a couple more Warframes.
Yeah.
And check in on upgrading my latest and greatest weapon.
Yeah.
So, it was great.
I'm happy for you. Oh, my God. So I think we should get into it. This is going to be our final recap of Here There Are Monsters by Amelinda Berube. This is a story about Skye and Deidre Mackenzie, two sisters who grew up in a world that really didn't accommodate their sense of imagination and wonder. Deidre was constantly bullied for being weird, and Skye was always the one to protect her, but sometimes she went too far, especially when she was handling the situation with Tyler, who was very severely bullying her. He was in Skye's grade and not in Deidre's, and was picking on her and actually punched her in the face, we found out last time. And so Skye was irritated and frustrated that nobody else seemed to be doing anything about it, and she attempted to drown him. And that sent the message pretty loud and clear. He stopped bothering her and in fact became her defender. But Skye was bothered by this, and the family was also bothered by the fact that nobody was doing anything to protect their children, so they moved. And when they moved, Skye took it as a fresh start. She made friends with William, Sophie, and Kevin, all who lived down the street, and are not the typical type of people that Skye would normally hang out with. Deidre felt very jealous and isolated and was very against Skye making friends with these people. Deidre secluded herself and spent all of her time in the woods, where she met some magical entity who took her under its wing and probably manipulated her into joining it, and so Deidre disappeared. Skye has been on this quest to get Deidre back. She's made some horrible deals with the woods. She's revealed her deep, dark past to her friends, who now, for the most part, hate her, except for William, who was also dragged into all of this, and he injured his dad enough to get a bowl full of blood to bring to the forest, to bring their bone guide thing to life, and it guided them into this dreamlike world in a parallel universe kind of thing, where they go to Skye's old house down the path that she had to walk to where she had drowned Tyler, or attempted to drown Tyler. And basically, she does the same thing to William. She chokes him for a little bit, ties him up against a tree, and lets a horde of guides come in, swarm him, and we assume kill him. We don't really know because Skye abandons him and leaves him there. She's walking through the stream where she finally encounters Deidre, who at first appeared to her like a giant or a force of nature, but then she took on a human form, and she tells Skye that there really is no difference between herself, Deidre, and the woods, and that she is the woods now because she and the woods wanted the same thing. They wanted to get back at the invaders, that she doesn't want to go home. She wants Skye to stay with her forever, even though as the woods, disguised as the woods, she had said that if Skye passes her tests that she and Deidre would walk free forever, and if she failed, the woods gets to keep her and Deidre forever. But it turns out that Deidre was behind all of this. Now we are going to get into the conclusion of what happens, what decision Skye makes. Is she going to stay in the woods forever? Is she going to join Deidre, or is she going to try to go home? So Skye is horrified at this information, and she's like, you can't make me stay here. I don't want to stay here. And Deidre's like, yes, you do. Didn't you come to find me? And Skye's like, I came to bring you home, okay? That's all I thought this was. And Deidre's like, oh, I thought you might say something like that. So I have one last surprise for you. And I was just saving it in case you did say what you said, because I was hoping that, just spending time with me would be enough for you, that, you'd want to stay here.
William's a monster.
God damn it, Ian. Stop being so on point with things.
I made a William puppet for you.
I twist around to find a shadow standing over me, a stark silhouette against the sky. A person, bending down. Just above the hand held out to me, a white bandage glows in Deidre's faint green light. The end of a braid dangles in my face. For a frozen eternity, I can't move, can't speak, can't think. William? It comes out a whimper. It's me. He sounds strange, far away, dreamy, or feverish. Come on, the water's cold. His hand is cold, clasping mine, but his grip is strong, and as he pulls me up, my feet find steps, not solid exactly, but enough to bear my weight, to climb up to where they both stand. Deidre full of ghostly light, and William dark, giving back none. I'm sorry, I choke out. William, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to. It's okay. It's a contented sigh, as if he's talking in his sleep. You had to. I understand. How can you say that? I cry. 'Cause
William already paid his price for this. I think William's still alive, not a puppet. I changed my mind. Well, dead alive.
It's okay, he repeats. I'm here. We're together. Should those words be comforting? They're sharp as knives. It's not possible. It's not right. But they were... What happened? I can't see his face. I can't see anything. Did they hurt you? I don't really remember. Dread blooms in my stomach. He doesn't sound right. Why can't I see him? I almost reach out to touch his face, but I hesitate, pull my hand back, remembering the antler poised above his eyes. It's the end of the world, isn't it? He continues dreamily. It's different than I thought it would be. I can see so much more clearly here. I can see everything, even you, right down to the very bottom. And it's Skye. You're beautiful. You're a hero. He takes a splashing, lurching step toward me. He moves like it hurts. He moves like one of them. And I scramble backward, away from him, and lift the sword between us. It's okay, he says again. Really, Skye, it is. That's not William, I breathe.
But it might be. I whispered really quietly. I said, oh, but it might be.
What do you mean it's not William? Deidre demands. Of course it is. You're making him say all of that. Stop it. But don't you get it? Deidre says. I'm giving him back. He's for you. He'll do whatever you want now. I don't have to make him do anything. Neither do you. We'll be queens together. And you can have your own champion. Just say you want it. Use the words. Our words. And it's done. But that's not what I want, I cry. He stands there unmoving, not protesting. Silent. That's not him. Oh, come on. You only ever liked him because he does what you want. That's why you picked him from the start. That's what you've been doing all this time. He'll cooperate now, see? And you can keep him. You get him back. Like I got Mog back. But only if you stay. I feel sick. What did you do to him? Deidre sticks her chin out, folds her arms. Everything has a price, she repeats. I don't want it. Undo it. Whatever it is, let him go. Don't be like that, Deidre pleads. Stay. Stay with me. He's for you, Sky. Just like the monsters I made for you to fight. I made a real sword even. Isn't it beautiful? Mom and Dad won't even know we're gone. Not once the door is closed behind us, I promise. When I hesitate, she stomps her foot, sending little ripples through the water. How do you think it's going to work out if you go back? Do you think he'll cooperate if you go back? Do you think any of them will forgive you? You're better off here. Stay with me. I squint at William, trying to make out his face. The dark hangs like a curtain between us, Deidre's glow casting only the faintest of halos around his hair, outlining his arms. Why can't I see him? I demand. Deidre doesn't look at me, doesn't answer. I clench my teeth, speak through them. It's you, isn't it? You don't want me to. I'm doing it for you, she says sullenly. It's easier this way. What do you mean? Why are you still asking questions? She comes closer, hugs my arm. Her touch is faint and cool. All you have to do is say the words. You know the ones. And then you can look at him all you want, okay? I pull away from her, focus on William's silhouette. I lift my hand slowly and reach for him. I have to know. Under my fingers, his cheek is clammy. I feel blindly across his face, lips and nose. I can't feel his breath. And under my touch, at the edge of his mouth, is a wet, ragged edge. Something tacky clings to my fingertips. Something gives where it shouldn't. When I jerk my hand back, it comes away stained with a dark smear of something that collects slowly at the base of my fingers, runs in a single drip across my palm. Deidre's light isn't bright enough to betray colors, red or otherwise, but I know what I'm looking at.
I'm pretty sure his eyes are still gone. Just try out the magic, Sky. Just do it.
It's like...
Just a little magic.
Just a little magic. It's like what all of those like DARE programs and whatever were like, that's how people are going to treat drugs around you. They'll be like, just try the drugs, Sky.
Just a little bit of drugs.
Just a little bit of magic, Sky. It'll be fine.
You won't be hooked forever. It's fine.
You can't make me stay, I whisper, looking up at her from my bloody fingers. Can you? I can't make you do anything, Deidre huffs. Nobody ever could. If I have a choice, I say, and my voice is stern and final, the voice of the Queen of Swords, then I choose to go back, with or without you. But Sky, you don't get to tell me who I am, I cry. You don't get to decide who I'm going to be. If this has a price, then I'll pay it. I'm Sky, and I'm going back, by wood, stone, water, and bone. I drop the sword at her feet. The water closes over the hilt with a gulp and a splash. Deidre reels back a few steps, staring at me in disbelief, in anguish. William staggers, stumbles against me, and I have to throw my arms around him to keep him upright. He sags in my arms, dragging us both down. The water rises around us, claiming my ankles, my knees, my thighs. You can't take him, Deidre protests. You're not allowed. You gave him to me, didn't you? I can do whatever I want. She balls her fists at her side. You chose him? You chose him instead of me. Come with me, I beg. I'm not the only one who has a choice. I've already made my choice. Her voice is hollow, made of the wind in trees. She's going dim, the moon shining through her hair as if it's caught in a net. No, caught in the branches. The tears sliding down her face are stars falling from the sky. I want to tell her I love her, in spite of it all, in spite of everything. But the moon is all that's left. The shifting green light fades from the sky. The water is closing over me, pulling at me. I hitch William up a little higher, trying to keep his face above the surface. Come on. His head lolls against my shoulder. Come on, stand up, help me. Sky? He murmurs. I can't see.
Oh no.
After that, he's silent, no matter how many times I call his name. So here we are, in the water, in the dark. I've made my choice, and I'm so tired of fighting. William is the last thing left in the world. I cling to him. I don't let go. That's not the end.
Okay, good. Because I'm like, it could be the end.
That could have been a very good ending. And again, not to always compare it to the Wilder would, it reminds me of how the two sisters in that, oh my god, wow, and sisters, holy shit. Anyways, whoa, oh my god, I want to do like a whole study of how these two books are. We could do that as a Patreon bonus episode. That'd be really, really wild. But okay, how they were like, you die in the real world, you don't die here or whatever. And then they actually died in the real world, but then came back because it was stupid and whatever, and how there was that like final cutoff point of like, it would have been so much better if this is where it ends. This, I like the way that this one ends, not just because it's like Hallmark movie-esque. It's not Hallmark movie-esque, to be perfectly honest.
At this point, I couldn't imagine it becoming Hallmark movie-esque because of the last scene, but...
Yeah, but that could have been a very... very good ending. I like the way that this ends, though. I still think it keeps the literary merit to it.
Yeah, but it could have ended right here.
Yes.
And that'd be a good ending, but there's more, so.
So, Skye wakes up to the sound of her name being called, and she feels numb, and she can't really open her eyes very well. But there's a familiar voice that she hears approaching her and is like, hey, Skye, I got you. And she's like, if I'm outside, which I think I am right now because I think I see snow on the ground, I'm not really sure, shouldn't I feel cold? And then whoever's talking to her picks her up and she's like, his hands are really hot and like fire, like it feels like it's burning me. So she's like, I guess I am cold kind of thing. She's put into an ambulance where her mom is like with her, and then she's like, where's William? What's going on? And they're like, we've got William. He's fine. We're just going to take care of you right now. And Skye holds her mom's hand and is like, I found Deidre. And her mom's like, what? She's like, I found Deidre at the end of the long swamp. Because I don't know why she says there, but that is what she's like, I found her. And I tried to bring her back, but I couldn't. And from our perspective, we're like, we know that she tried to bring Deidre the person back, as in, like, bring her back from whatever weird magical kingdom she found. To her mom, she thinks that she found Deidre's body and tried to bring her body back. Mm-hmm. That's basically the conversation that they had. So she goes to the hospital, spends a few days there, because, obviously. The police are eventually ask Skye for her story, and she doesn't have a very good story. Because what ended up happening was that William was all torn up. Which we knew, because that's what happened. There was the thing with the crazy antlers, and it scratched at his face, and it did whatever. And she doesn't have a very good story. It's a lot of, I don't know, I don't remember, I didn't see. But basically, she tries to say that they were attacked by some kind of animal, and they're like, it's interesting that it only attacked William and not you. But like...
She's like, well, William protected me, so...
Yeah, and she's like, well, I brought him back. Like, what do you want? What do you want?
I dragged him with me.
I dragged him back here. I don't know what you want. And then that on top of what happened to Kevin, because they apparently didn't go anywhere to go on this hunting trip kind of thing. Like, they were still within these woods, basically. And so they're like, well, between what happened with Kevin and William, it sounds like there's a bear or a cougar or something out there. So, of course, the public's on high alert. The police also took what she said about Deidre and went to look at the bottom of the long swamp, and they found her dress, and it was in shreds. And so they're like, we can probably assume that, yeah, this is the same animal that's been attacking you guys. Mm-hmm. And Skye's like, yeah, sure, let's go with that. So they hold a memorial for Deidre. At least now her family has closure, because Deidre's not coming back. And her family has closure. They have a memorial where Angie, who's William's mom, comes up to talk to Skye and is like, thank you for saving him. And Skye has so many complicated feelings about that, because she's like, I literally put him in that situation. I gave him up for Deidre. I made the wrong choice. And now I have to pay for that. But of course she can't tell that to Angie. So she's like, I'm going to try my best to not hurt him anymore. And then she's like, excuse me. And she goes into her room because this is at her house after the service. And she's just in her room. The walls have been stripped because remember the roots came in and attacked and all that kind of stuff.
It just damaged the house.
So right now it's time for repairs, and like her dad has been working on the house while all of this other kind of crazy stuff has been happening. So she's in her room looking at everything stripped down and is feeling all sorts of ways. My bed has been shoved over to the side, covered with a cloth. I sink into it, drop my head into my hands. She's never coming back. That luminous, silver-eyed girl crowned with the crescent moon wasn't anything human anymore. Whatever's back there in the woods did devour her, in a way. I can still hear her laughing response to my question. Are you dead? She might as well be. Could I have stopped her if I'd been paying attention? If I'd been there to wait after her, sword in hand? What's the point in even asking? I'm no one's hero. Not Deidre's, and definitely not William's. I don't know if there's a word for what I am. Liar? Traitor? Monster, maybe. When the door swings open, I take a deep breath, determined not to snap at the intruder. My parents have been through enough lately. Just give me a minute, I say through my teeth. Okay, I'll be up in a minute. No response. When I look up, it's Kevin looking back at me, hollow-eyed, tousled-haired, in a jacket and tie, leaning on crutches. Can we talk? He says. When I don't answer, he hobbles into the room and lowers himself slowly onto the bed next to me, grimacing. Ow, fuck. I lean away from him, my arms folded. I don't have anything to say to you. Bullshit, he retorts. You owe me. I can hardly argue with that. We sit in silence for a while, footsteps creaking overhead. You weren't supposed to get involved, I tell him eventually. None of you were. He's silent, and I steal a glance at him. He's looking back at me, wary, puzzled. I'm trying to figure this out, he says. They're saying you were attacked by some sort of animal. He quirks his brows to say we both know what it really was. I look away. They're saying William could have died, and that you brought him out of the woods. They're saying you saved him. He waits for me to say something. Is that true? I sniff, sweep my hair out of my face. Ask him. I did, but he was pretty confused when I talked to him. High as a kite, you know, his face got pretty messed up. I'm not going to ask for the details. I don't want to know. A memory flashes through my head, William sitting beside me, his hand on my arm. I don't hate you. But following close behind it is the memory of his sleepy, hypnotized, poisoned voice. I understand. You had to. Words I made him say. Words Deidre made him say. What's the difference? What happened? Kevin asks. For real. Am I the only one who remembers then? Is it up to me to decide what's true and what gets erased? Some of it's true, more or less. But it's not the whole story, is it? There's no more damage left to do. I've already burned everything down. Suddenly I can't bear the weight of another secret. It might crush me. You were right, I grate out, about everything. I had a choice between him and Deidre, and I chose wrong. The silence is dense and heavy, a black hole. Explanations, excuses, lies couldn't fill it, not in a million years. I brought him back, though, I whisper. I did bring him back. I chose to bring him back in the end. The bed creaks as Kevin waits shifts beside me. So was it worth it? He asks. It burns hearing that question spoken aloud, the one that's been spinning through my head, half-formed for days. What the hell am I supposed to say to that? I don't know. Tell me it meant something. Tell me you're sorry. Not sorry enough to make Kevin think he has this kind of power over me. I steady my hands in my lap. You are sorry, though. He says it slowly, as if he's working through a riddle, a tangled knot. Aren't you? I wish he'd stop looking at me. You think so? Yeah. Yeah, I do. Well, so what if I am? What good does it do? My stone face is cracking. I hide it behind my hands. Isn't he satisfied yet? Why is he still here? Jesus, Kevin, what do you want? Another long silence. Beside me, he swallows. You want to hear a story? He waits for a few heartbeats for me to respond, but when I don't, he continues anyway. So he explains. I'm not going to go through his story because it's kind of long. But he explains basically why he and William are such good friends. And it connects way back to when we first were really introduced to Kevin as the readers. Was at the Halloween party, and there was this gossip session going around about this girl named Brittany who was caught cheating on her boyfriend, and Kevin was kind of defending her because people were calling her a slut, and he was like, don't call her that, right? And we were all really confused about what that was about. Like, was it he was the one who was caught cheating with her? Was he interested in her? Like, what was going on? That was like something that's kind of been at the back of this whole story, and it's coming around full circle. So there was this guy that was picking on William, and his name was Jared. Why is that funny? Is it just the way I said it?
Yeah.
So this guy named Jared is picking on William and being a real jerk to him. And Jared was also dating Brittany. So Kevin went up to Sophie and said, hey, I have some juicy gossip for you. Can you spread it? And she was like, oh, you know me and my spider web. I can absolutely spread that information. So he lied. That didn't actually happen. Brittany was not caught cheating with anyone. Kevin made it up to hurt Jared, to, devastate him. And he and Brittany had this very public breakup, and he said very damning things. So there was never going to be a time when the two of them were going to get back together kind of thing. And then, of course, Brittany was labeled as a slut, because that's kind of how that goes. His mouth tightens. Collateral damage. I thought I was doing her a favor, breaking them up. I didn't know people would take it like that. I didn't know they'd hang on to it for so long. But you didn't tell anyone you lied about it either. It wouldn't have done any good. It's not the sort of thing you can take back. Well, nice story. Is he just trying to put me in my place? At this point, any secret he tells me is safe. If I tried to use it against him, nobody would believe me anyway. What am I supposed to do with the information? I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe I'm just trying to be nice, A better person. He stretches his leg out in front of him, grimacing. Maybe I'm trying to make up for being a dick. I never trusted you. But maybe I'm not that different from you. He hesitates. Maybe you were right about me too. Sophie said bullshit was your superpower. Kevin snorts. Yeah, that sounds like her. I deal in bullshit too, though. Why'd you do it, Kevin? For real. My question is soft, but it nettles him into a glare. I told you, he says. I was protecting William. Who told you that was your job? Who signed you up for that? Why the hell does that matter? Nobody else was doing it. I took care of it. But why? Why like that? Because, okay? He draws a breath, lowers his voice. Just because. Because reasons. Because you could, I whisper. Because you wanted to.
They're exactly the same, yes!
We stare at each other. Recognition. It's ashy and awful. I'm the one who looks away first. So what now? How should I know? I won't mess with you if you won't mess with me. And stay the hell away from my friends. That's not what I meant. I clench my fist in my lap. How do you go on, when you know how far you'll go? His turn to look away. I have a choice, don't I? I'm pleading. I can't help it. I came back. I did. So how do I stop? How do I not be that person anymore? Kevin grabs his crutches, lurches to his feet. If there's a secret to it, he says, let me know. Not the end. There's still more. But interesting. I do like that it's coming out. That these two are exactly the same. That he did the same, he didn't almost kill a guy. But I bet he would have if it turned into that kind of situation. He was willing to have collateral damage of Brittany with the whole Jared situation. What ended up happening was that Jared actually got kicked out of school because he started beating Kevin up. Because Kevin went and told Jared. He was like, I made that whole thing up, by the way, after they broke up, of course. And Jared beat the shit out of him, and the school's like, zero tolerance policy.
Why is Kevin doing all this stuff? He can't he can't fight.
Exactly.
He's getting beat up by everyone. What the hell?
And he's like, I've never been so happy to be beat up in my life, though, because then Jared got kicked out of school. And yeah, whatever. But yeah, then people are still gossiping about Brittany. And that kind of sucks. And that's like this big reminder. And she's like, and you never told Brittany about it? And he's like, nope.
Why would I do that?
Exactly. So I just, oh my God, it's just chef's kiss of the mirror of their stories. And I really love it. So then the next day or so, I don't know when, but like eventually Skye returns to school. Mm-hmm. Sophie's there with a cane because she was in a car accident, remember, broke her fucking knee, which I'm like, ah. And
just her left knee, his right leg.
Yeah.
William's whole face. His dad's back.
Dude, the amount of people that like are so terribly injured by this, which I think is also the other point too. I align Deidre, because like I was mentioning in one of the earlier episodes, again, I was editing them recently, so I've got a lot of what we've said in my head right now. And in one of the earlier episodes, I mentioned that I think that a lot of this could be an allegory, a metaphor, what have you, for mental illness and how people treat mental illness. And specifically, like, with how people are treating Deidre in this. This still continues with that. Specifically with, like, if we treat what Deidre did as a suicide and not going off into the forest to live forever, whatever, it's kind of like that, too, where it fractures and it goes and it affects way more people than you think it does, and it hurts so many people that might not even be directly connected to you. And so that's what I really like about how all of these... I mean, I don't like that anybody got hurt, but, you know, like that there are these physical things that we see of how one person's disappearance affected so many people. Fascinating. Very, very well done, I think, personally. So, Skye goes to school, she sees Sophie, and Sophie is like, we are not friends, and like walks the other way and has a... Because, like, again, Sophie doesn't know any of what's going... Like, she just thinks that Skye is a fucking creep. And at first, Skye is like, well, doesn't she know that I saved William? And then she's like, I was no hero, so what the fuck am I talking about? And so she's like, okay, I respect it. But, like, Sophie at least doesn't start spreading rumors or anything like that. And that's probably at Kevin's directive. And then,
she should also still be very scared of Skye.
She really should be. Because Skye is saying, this is who I am, and I'm trying not to be that person, but I do know that I can go as far as almost drowning somebody and, like, and torturing somebody and giving up William.
Literally giving up my first love.
Yeah. So, Sophie should be terrified and should file a restraining order minimum. But she doesn't. And so Skye is a little bit sad, but understanding of that. And then, of course, there's whispers, there's rumors that do go around. And when she gets into her homeroom class, she hears a lot of people still whispering about her. And she knows it's about her because they're, like, staring at her and whatever when they're doing it, because kids are assholes. And she hears a little bit of what they're whispering, and a lot of times it comes around with fucking creepy and whatever. And then Kevin's in her homeroom class, and from behind her, he just goes, shut the hell up, everyone. And then she turns around. And he makes eye contact with her, doesn't nod or anything. And she's like, cool, we've got a truce. He and I, we've got an understanding. We're not friends. We're not going to ever hang out. But we understand each other. And we'll defend each other in the way that we know what the other person is.
Yeah, we'll defend our secret together.
Basically. Then finally, she's at her locker. This is the last part.
And it's William.
She's at her locker. She's, trying to get through her day. And she hears a very familiar laugh that's kind of self-conscious.
Am I going to be sad?
Yeah, probably.
Aww.
I'm at my locker, pulling it open, when a familiar laugh drifts down the hall. It's self-conscious, infectious, inviting you to smile too. The books slide from my hands to sprawl in a heap on the floor, and I run, shoving my way through the bodies milling across my path, ignoring the protests and scowls I leave behind. There, coming through the double doors from the parking lot, heading for the stairs. William! He turns in surprise, just in time for me to throw my arms around him, enough to make him stagger. His cheek against mine is cold from the walk outside. He smells faintly of vanilla. It's him. It's really him. "You're all right," I gasp. "You're here. You're okay." I stop short of clasping his face between my hands. He looks back at me with one gray eye, the other hidden under a white bandage. A livid red seam winds out from underneath it, across his cheek, down his jaw, to the corner of his mouth. Fading yellow bruises follow in its wake. "William," I whisper. "Oh my God." He doesn't speak, but something passes between us as he steps out of my embrace. Something not quite seen, a shape underwater. Its shadow crosses his face. He backs away from me, by a step, then another. "William?" I plead. His gaze flickers to the door, then back to me again, as if it's drawn, unwilling. "I'm gonna go." "William!" He ducks away from me, slams back through the doors. Outside, he keeps walking, his shoulders hunched, the snow shifting into his hair, his steps as long as he can make them without running. He walks away, like he'll lose everything if he looks back.
So sad.
So sad. And so then, at home, she goes and kind of like looks into the woods with like the trees towering over her and just kind of like accepting what's going on. And she calls out into the woods Deidre's name, maybe thinking that because she's like, the woods was like, when I thought it was the woods talking to me, it was Deidre the whole time. So maybe, you know, she'll still talk to me. Maybe the door's still open. Maybe she didn't close it after I left. But Deidre doesn't respond.
Mm-hmm.
I fold my arms against the pinch of my breath in my chest and the desperate spiral of half-formed explanations. I made a choice. I brought him back. Shouldn't that count for something? I have to tell him. I have to make him understand. But the memory of Deidre's shout stops the spiral cold. "Do you think he'll cooperate if you go back?" I brought him back, but I can't make him come back to me. I'm not doing that. Not anymore. It's a choice. I can choose. That's not who I am. If I walk away from him, like I walked away from Deidre, from her bone kingdom, if I let him go, if I choose to, if I choose again and again, does that change anything? I'm not supposed to be out here, not with the wild something or other on the loose. Eventually, I have to turn away from the woods, the gathering dark. No matter how many times I look over my shoulder, nothing stands between the tree trunks. The face of the forest is empty, blind and dreaming, filling up with snow. And that's the end.
So sad.
So sad and heartbreaking and just upsetting, but so good.
It's over and you get nothing.
Yes, literally nobody got anything out of this story other than me. I got a whole lot of heartache.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked how it ended, and I liked that I read this pretty blind, where I didn't know where it was going the whole goddamn time. We didn't even know what genre it was. I really liked this story a lot. I have a feeling it'll be one that I reread throughout my life.
Yeah, because it definitely gives you that forlorn, it's over feeling, and it's unsatisfying.
Yeah.
So that's one that you're going to be like, well, how do I feel about it?
Right. And I also think now that I know the story part of it, if I ever reread it, I would want to focus on like the weird details that are in it, like all of her dreams. I would love to do just like an exploration of her dreams, because she had some really wild and freaky ones, like the one where Deidre was digging a grave and she had a bone face, and it was weird. But yeah, I also just really like the whole whether or not she had a choice about stuff. And who she's choosing to be and who she's not. Because, and I know you and I have said this whole time too, because she said so many times, I didn't have a choice, and you and I were like, nope, you did. You know, I'm glad she now realizes that she had choices and that she just maybe chose some very horrible paths. And I love that she and Kevin recognize each other for who they are. I was hoping that it would turn into a little bit more with her and Kevin. I was hoping that Kevin would be like recognizes let's date.
Well,
they'd be a power couple.
In our imaginary future, she becomes a karate champion. I don't actually know what Kevin does.
Kevin, yeah, I don't know, but like in my imagination, Yeah, she goes and, like, pours herself into karate and is at, like, a championship or something, and Kevin's there in the audience, and then, like, when she wins, he comes to congratulate her, and then they have, like, a fresh start now that they know who the other is and whatever, and then they fall in love and live happily ever after. That's what I'm gonna say. I think she and Kevin belong together. I'm very upset about William, though. Like, he got so fucked over in this.
And every step of the way, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh my god.
He had the unfortunate path of coming across Sky.
Yeah. That's the only mistake he ever made, was trying to be nice to her.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. I'm wounded. I have so many feelings. I thought he died. I'm so glad he's not dead. But man, he came close. And that whole thing with Deidre, and you know what I love too, is that she didn't answer all of the questions. Like, we still don't know what Deidre encountered in the woods.
We have no idea.
Like, I think it was just the spirit of the woods, but, like, who the fuck knows? And we don't know what price Deidre paid for a lot of this stuff. We know some of it. Like, obviously she killed Mog, or the woods killed Mog for her, because remember, she seemed pretty upset about that, but she's like, well, then I've got Mog back with me now. And I love that she's like, it's the same thing. Yeah, I've got William for you here. And I'm like, the difference between a cat and a person, like, it's not going to be the same. Like, you can pretend that that's truly Mog. Sure, fine. I'm sure it acts just the way that you want it to. But, like, that ain't William.
Mm-hmm.
It was so scary and so sad. And just, so traumatizing. I'm traumatized just by reading it. So overall, I don't know what I'd rate. I can't do a rating right now. If I don't know if that's what we're ever gonna do if I finish books, but
we give it a good out of good.
Good out of good. Love it. 5
goods out of good.
All right. Well, what did we learn today?
I learned that this whole book was a moot point. It was, well, maybe not a moot point. Nothing good came out of anything that happened to any of these characters. Everyone is now in a worse place. Mm-hmm. But I guess Sky grew emotionally.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you learned?
Oh, so many things. I have learned that I don't know what light and fluffy means.
True. Oh my goodness. This was not light and fluffy at all.
Oh my god, it was so heavy. And it was so, I don't know, spiky? Is that what we want? Like, as opposed to fluffy? Anyways, it was a lot. As far as about your games, I have learned that do-overs of games, redos, remakes, or even just, not even redos, but just, I'm gonna make this with the same name things, are never as good as the originals.
Mm-hmm.
And I also learned that you need help to just, I don't know what it is that Warframe has you by the balls, but it does.
It's very similar to Destiny in certain aspects, and I just got tired of playing Destiny, so I've been playing that.
Okay. I don't understand. I'm tired of playing this.
I was tired of
so
playing...
I'm going to play that, which is the same thing, but only different.
It's got similar things. I got really tired of playing Destiny 2 just because of the way it is.
You can tell that it's an Aspen because of the way that it is. Wow.
You can tell that they're a Destiny player because they're upset about it.
Should we decide our next book right now?
Is that what the jar is for?
That is what that jar is for.
Do you want to draw it, or can I draw it?
I want you to draw it. Gotta put some good luck on it. Pick a good one. I don't know what's all in here, to be perfectly honest. I put, like, I don't know.
I could add a couple more for you to read, but I don't know if you'd enjoy those at all.
Who knows? What am I reading next?
The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna.
Do you know what's so exciting about that?
What?
Bree wants me to read that. That's on her recommendation.
Okay.
What I do know of it, it is not light and fluffy.
Excellent.
It is quite heavy. It made Bree cry. So it will probably make me cry.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people find us?
They can find us on Instagram.
At A Pot of Sass.
They can...
Can you say a word?
I don't know. I confused myself.
Good.
They can send us an email.
At apotofsass@gmail.com.
They can check out our Patreon.
Patreon.com/apotofsassandSarcasm. And please donate if you're feeling so inclined. You'll get extra goodies every month, like practice episodes or episodes that are not about the books that we're reading here. We might be doing some dramatic readings of things. We might be doing all sorts of different kinds of stuff. So definitely go check that out. And please support our podcast if you're able and willing. And you can also find us on pretty much any platform that you can listen to any podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. I don't remember.
There's
all
like
of
a
them.
potato one.
Is there a potato one?
I thought you said like potato pods or something.
Potato pie? I don't think any of those are potato pods, so I don't think so.
What's this one? Oh, that's Patreon. Good pods?
Probably good
Cabana?
pods.
I don't know. I just am reading it up there.
Yeah. Anyways, you can find us wherever, and we would really appreciate your ratings, reviews, your listens. Share it with your family and friends if they are maybe into books or video games. And
Video games. I do have a rather large collection. I might buy another one. Who knows?
Another what?
Another video game.
Oh my god.
I like collecting video games.
Just like I like collecting books.
Yeah, and then just never playing them.
And I never reading them. That's what this whole jar is about. My jar literally says, "It's me. I'm the to be read. It's me." I'm looking at my shelf and trying to like count how many I've actually read, and the answer is not many, bitch.
Well, there's a whole shelf of one of my series that I haven't even finished. I got to number 7, and I was like, or was it 9? And I was like, I don't feel like it anymore.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I'm feeling quite defeated at this moment. I'm in that post-read, like, oh my god, what do I do with my life? I actually have to go to work tomorrow. And
Oh man, it's late.
yeah, but isn't it daylight savings tonight?
I thought we lose an hour from that.
No, that's in the spring.
Oh.
So we gain an hour.
Oh, we gain an hour, but it's gonna mean nothing for me because I'm gonna wake up with the sunlight pretty soon.
Yeah. Pretty soon. It's gonna be in several hours. We're fine. What time is it?
It is 11:48.
Oh shit, we've got to play the New York Times games. We gotta go.
Shit. Anyway, thanks for listening.
We hope you keep listening, and we hope you stay sassy.
Later!
Bye!